So after I spoke up about the abuses that were done or that was happening in California, my father pretty much call it trafficking. Because I call it trafficking because I have no damn proof of how I got here or how I got to the East Damn Coast. But I ended up coming to the East Coast and moving to New York to be with then my aunt, who had several of her daughters still living with her. And I came here and I went to school with her. She was a teacher here on the East Coast, and I um, ended up going to Catholic school in New York in Harlem. And so I was taken out of what was one form of abuse and brought into a whole nother bag of worms, because I didn't realize right away that it was the same thing. I didn't realize that the individuals that were in my life here on the East Coast were also involved in the things that were being done to me. And as a matter of fact, they were the ones that were puppeteering the whole situation. My aunt being a big force in that, which kind of disappoints my soul, but you know, it is it is what it is. Um, so my aunt um, took lead in alleged caring of me. Um, but yeah, I've noticed certain things about my aunt, and I never really were able to explain it to myself, but I justified it as just quirks. There were individuals in the circle, uh, her circle, that I also couldn't quite put a finger on, or explain. For instance, like a family friend of hers, which is like one of her best friends. And I could never understand how, if someone was, I knew that that person was her best friend or one of her best friends, but never in my life, even up to now, I had never seen her physically in the same room with this person. Yet I knew this person was her best friend or one of her best friends. Like this person, I realized now intentionally was never photographed with her, was never seen in public with her, never attended a family event. However, our children knew who this person is, but even her children didn't know the level of their closeness. Um, and I thought that was suspicious until one day, one holiday, I was asked, well, I was told to take food to this individual's house. And every year, more than every year, I was constantly being sent to this woman's house. And I was angry about it because this woman, her house, she's a witch, right? And this is the type of person that makes witches look and sound bad, because witches are not, there's nothing wrong with being a witch. There's nothing that, in my mind, I don't see anyone who, if you choose to be a Jew or you were born in as a Jew, this is no different than being born in as a witch versus discovering that you want to be a witch. This is no different than being born into a family as a Muslim versus deciding that you want to be a Muslim. No different than being born into a family as a Buddhist, or deciding you want to be a Buddhist. These are just things. And I'm not knocking any of them. However, this particular individual performed dark crafts. And I take offense to any individual that's going to any form of belief for the use of dark crafts to suppress other people. When I would walk at this woman's house, I remember the first time I stood at her door and the smell of ammonia, I almost passed out. And I remember the instant, like I started to feel like I was fading, and I realized that I was being sent as a sacrifice. And I didn't understand that, because I'm like, why would anybody send me to this woman's house? And why would anyone want to send me as an offering to a witch? And also, why would you expose a minor to a witch, right? Like, if you knew someone is a witch that practiced evil or had known evil habits, why would you continuously send me or send a child to go bring that individual meals all the time? But you yourself would never be caught in that person's home. That is what I experienced as a child. I did not realize that my presence in this woman's vicinity, and her physically touching me, petting me, didn't realize that hair was being taken. Totally oblivious. I was a kid. I was a stupid kid. Because I recognized something was suspicious, but I believed that it was my imagination. And having a colorful imagination was what I thought it was. But now I see that that's definitely not the case. So that is when spells started to get ramped up. When I came to New York at 9, there were individuals that are allegedly Catholic, that were involved, in addition to individuals that were Seventh-day Adventists, allegedly, as well as individuals who weren't claiming any belief publicly, but they were witches that were friends of my aunts, and also my aunt's uncle. Not my aunt's uncle, my uncle. So my aunt and uncle, their friends and friends of the family, that were assisting in all of this BS. In addition to family that was back in Jamaica that was participating in those habits remotely. So that's that part.